Phantasm Podcast, a horror death metal podcast for the old school. Join your hosts Corey Gorechrist and Dr. Vincent West as they stuff horror movie reviews and death metal interviews all in one body bag. Listen on iTunes, subscribe on YouTube, and like on Facebook. And head over to outlandermedia.net for more.
Hi, this is Jeff Becerra from the band Becerra. You're listening to the Phantasm Podcast.
Phantasm.
Six on the head and the wrist. The bloody, battered, gruesome mix. To gory, to glass, the river sticks. Bended knees and Satan's fist. Lucidity, tranquility, I lost the sport of century. My wars evolve, my space divine. And paid for life until they die. In fire and hell and death your mind. The hourglass and rock and wine. The time is short to do your best. And every word takes one more breath.
And this is Dr. Vincent West with the Phantasm Podcast, and my next guest needs no introduction. As far as I'm concerned, this man is responsible for the genre of death metal that I listen to. I think you could not ask for a more amazing, classic, original release from this band. They have a new album coming out this year, Revelations of Oblivion. Please help me welcome death metal legend Jeff. My God, one of my fucking heroes. This is Jeff from Possessed. How you doing, my friend?
Vincent, Mr. West, how's it going? It's an honor and a privilege to be here, and thank you for reaching out, man. It's really cool.
It's awesome, man. It's an absolute fucking honor to have you on. Just to kind of jump right into things with you, and we'll get to all things Revelations of Oblivion later. But can you do? I think a lot of our probably younger fans would probably want to hear this as well, and I'd love to hear the story myself, but could you talk about how Possessed came about?
Well, I mean, there were several. It was like the perfect storm, really. I mean, I'm not sure if a lot of people know this, but in many ways, in a lot of aspects, Possessed is kind of a continuation of two clans, the Mikes, which I call them, Mike Suits and Mike Trail. But even much before that, me and Larry had been in a band since we were children, basically, since 1979. We started a band, we were like 11 years old or something.
Wow.
And, along with Mike Biner, who went on to Blind Illusion, and Danny Bowen, and three other guys, Danny Bowen, Steve Gibbons, and Jimmy Stinson, which, unfortunately, the last three, respectively, have passed.
Right.
But we started that band together when we were little kids, and I actually wrote what later became Burning Hell. It was a song called Hellraiser with a Z, which I thought were really cool. I wrote that when I was 11 years old in 1979.
That's awesome.
So me and Larry were always like jamming and playing, and Larry, we were. I still consider him a very, very tight brother, even though I haven't talked to any of those guys in 30 years or not. Now, on the second front, well, I mean, we'll continue on with Blizzard, originally called Marauder, then we turned into Blizzard. And Gary Holt used to manage our band way back when we were little kids, and from Exodus and Slayer, and they, we were little kids, like literally little kids, and we were kind of a novelty, growing up, and a lot of the bigger West Coast bands or Bay Area bands, more to the point succinctly, took us under our wings and helped us get our first gigs, and it was cool, and so me and Larry went on to do Blizzard, and then Larry was always kind of reaching, like he was always getting the trippy shit that I found trippy, but only like when I was stoned or whatever. But he would get into like Frank Zappa and the Grateful Dead, and more they started, some older kids started hanging around us and kind of throwing their drug influences in there, and they started dropping acid and going to Grateful Dead concerts. I fucking hate that hippie shit. Like I don't,
Same here.
Like I never got into it. Like I'm not bagging on it. Like I know they're great musicians or whatever, but it's just not my bag. You know, like so I was the one to play more like Exodus and Venom and Motorhead and Merciful Fate. Raven and, all that kind of shit, and they were spinning off in that direction. And I guess I thought my stature in the band was higher than it was, but, I kept pushing hard like I always do. And I came to practice one time, and the older kids were holding my bass, and one of my roadies was holding my bass, and one of the older kids was playing one of the guitars, and they were like, "Oh, Jeff, you're kicked out of the band." And it was like, that hot slap in the face, feel like this is the worst feeling in the world. So I was angry, and then what I would mean by the perfect storm is like the next week, I was approached by the Mikes, and Mike Trail, Mike Seuss, and they kind of asked me if I was interested in jamming with them. And so I bumped over and liked what they were doing, and we started Possessed. Now, in the meantime, I wanted to go back and get Larry, and Debbie Abono, because Debbie Abono is also the Blizzard manager.
Right.
But the Mikes were worried that, it'd be the two young guys against the two older guys. And so we reached out to Bay Area Magazine, BAM Magazine, and got Brian Montana, who was from Brisbane, California. And he was a great guitarist, but I could tell right away that him and Mike weren't getting along, and,
right.
And the image wasn't right, I guess, and so I kind of played like on Brian's side, but yet I was very divisive and vindictive back then. Like I wanted to have a bargaining chip. Like I knew the way that the politics worked, and if Mike wanted him out, he'd have to convince me. And so the way that I became convinced was my bargaining chip was, sure, we can kick out Brian, but we have to go get Larry from Blizzard, and along with Debbie.
Right.
Well, now in the meantime, we'd already been done our demo, the 83, often mislabeled 84 demo, and we'd done the 83 demo, and we'd also got signed on the Metal Massacre 6, and we just got signed on Combat. So we had a big bargaining chip and more weight to go back and get Larry at that point, which I had to wait for in time. But, because I couldn't just come back and I want Larry and I have nothing to offer.
Right.
So when I came back with a better, stronger band with the contract and, also on, Metal Massacre 6, I came back and was able to secure both Larry and Debbie Abono's manager, and then promptly walked down and interrupted the Blizzard practice and said, "You guys are fucking out, leave the equipment, this is now the Possessed band." And I got my revenge, right?
Right.
And I'm very much like that. I mean, much of what I do is getting even or trying the politics of music, I mean, like I don't like to get fucked over and
sure.
and feel like they got the best of me, and that was the only way I could really live with myself. Plus, I wanted Larry because Larry, I'm comfortable with Larry. So in a lot of respects, Possessed was a continuation of Blizzard because, I got Larry back and Debbie back and the band room back,
right.
and my old equipment back, and so that was, when, Possessed really started. So that was the start of things. Of course, that only lasted a few short years before Larry quit on me again, understandably, because we always looked up to Les Claypool and Blind Illusion and the Mark Biedermans and later that became Primus, and he went platinum. So kudos
sure.
on him. And that's understanding. I have to respect. Musicians are a wily bunch, and we're always doing shit for whatever our own reasons are. And so that's just the way that it works. And so I think what me and Larry offered is that we were already professional, gigging, pretty savvy musicians, even though we were a few years younger,
sure.
4 years younger than the Mikes. They had never really played gigs or anything like that. So whenever I came into Possessed, when they had been sitting in the garage for God knows how many years, I had this up and running with a contract within 9 months and a new guitarist, a band room, and a manager. And that's just one thing I've always been really good at is putting together a group of guys and making it work. So I guess
right.
that's what I do. And I'm just good at something, and that's my one thing. So.
Well, that's that's amazing. I mean, I never knew any of that. That's a really interesting story. Now, so at what year was this the second album then, when all this happened with Larry, or?
What year was the first album?
Oh, no. I was talking like after the second album.
Oh, after the second album. What do you mean? What happened?
Like at what now? Well, just more of like when you felt like it was not working anymore.
Well, I mean, there had always been some tension. I mean, because we're all uniquely different. Like, Larry's kind of a pacifist, so he doesn't take a stance. So I always kind of felt like I was on my own. Like, and the mics, they always kind of stuck together.
Sure.
And so there was always kind of some tension, but that worked for us in a lot of ways because we're always vying for status or competition or writing credit or you know, like to twist a riff or, you know, do this or that. And it was always kind of like a unhealthy but yet productive competition. And so that worked for us. But it always felt like, I don't know, I always felt like, you know, they didn't approve of me being this or that. I'm feeling a little, I don't want to say jealousy or whatever, you know, like. Sure. And so, but it worked, you know, and we did, I feel like we really did, like, love each other as brothers, but it just wasn't healthy, you know, but yet we didn't give a shit because we were playing good music and touring around, and we toured pretty well together, and, you know, a couple fist fights here and there, but, you know, I think by the time we went into Eyes of Horror, I don't think I even saw Mike in there by then, and I could tell that Larry was drifting, you know, because he's like such a good soul and kind of passive, and
sure,
and you know, and others that can be really aggressive and harsh, and you know, of course I could hold my own, you know, so I felt Larry drifting, but more than that, I felt Mike's shoes and Mike Trail, like, getting drawn back to that normal life, the way they just wanted to live a normal life, and you got to respect their journey. So when, you know, I came to practice shortly after we recorded Eyes of War, you know, Mike and Larry were sitting there, and Larry was kind of staring at his feet, and Mike was like, Larry's quitting to go to Body Illusion, and we just want to go back to our normal lives. And I was like, what? I, like, begged them to stay, right?
Right.
And it was like, oh, it's devastating, like, you know, but like I say, you gotta respect it. Like, to me, like, when I grew up, I didn't have anything else, you know, there wasn't many options, and, you know, we didn't grow up, you know, we grew up kind of really, really, like, lower middle class, and,
sure,
you know, not a lot of money, and you could become, like, in a gang, or a bike club, or a drug dealer, or a fucking, you know, construction worker, or,
right,
you know, work really blue collar, or, you know, my outlet was like the dream of being kind of like a rock star. So
sure,
that's what I went with. That's what I stuck with from a very early age. And so I didn't understand that going backwards. I knew that by that time we were touring with Slayer, and we were on the up and up. We were the largest selling grossing band on Combat Records, and
it's amazing.
You know, we were doing so well, and everything was going so great, and I didn't understand why they wanted to be quote unquote normal, but I respected that, and they chose their way, and I chose mine. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you chose your way. I mean, and just to take a second, what a fucking debut album, man. I mean, that for me is the template from which I base everything that I listen to in extreme music.
Yeah, I mean, that was a doozy, man. I mean, that was real avant-garde, man. I mean, we knew it was something special, but I honestly didn't know. I thought, you know, 90% of me thought, you know, while I love this album, the world's not going to understand it. They're going to hate it. And sure enough, you know, a lot of people really fucking hated it, but a lot of people really fucking got, you know, what we were putting out there.
It's groundbreaking. Groundbreaking.
Thanks, Satan, because, you it was, it was hit at the right time. I mean, back then, with, around the Satanic Panic and the PMRCs, which came soon after.
Sure.
It really hit a nerve, where people were just rebellious enough, and there was a lot of indicators that the world was ready for that, and what I saw, which was blaringly obviously, is that the thrash bands, while I worshipped all the thrash bands around me, there was always that invisible line that nobody dared cross. They always cut their bangs, they always feathered their hair, they always were nice and clean and proper. They would dip their toe in the water of Satanism, but they would never go balls out. And they would put some heavy riffs, but they always had the happy backbeat, drums, that skippity, thrash rhythm.
Sure.
That they would never go dark, and like fast and dark, and I was like, fuck that line, let's just blow past it, and that will be our claim to fame, and luckily Mike and everybody were right with me. We were with each other. We were on a mission, like, just to be the heaviest, fastest, most fucking satanic band in the world, and to put something out there that was terrifying at the time, and it really worked. It clicked on all cylinders back then. So.
Did you realize when Seven Churches, like when you guys were, maybe recording it with Randy, or you guys were just, did you realize that this, at the time, did you realize, okay, this is something new, this isn't death metal, or excuse me, this isn't thrash metal, this is, what would come to be death metal? Did you know that at the time?
Yeah, that was completely intentional. We knew it was apples to oranges different. It was completely intentional. We were trying to put our brand of music out, and we said, Venom has black metal, there's thrash metal. Let's call Possessed death metal, because nobody calls their band, there's no death metal. We took something that was intentionally not taken, and we called it, and we branded Possessed death metal band. Now, the problem was that the media and the press at the time were still pretty layman, and they refused to acknowledge that we were playing something different. They constantly called us thrash, and they couldn't. It's really hard to turn people onto a new concept, especially in music, because everything is, if the media doesn't, or the record execs don't brand it, it's really widely not accepted. So it was, we felt like we were being revolutionaries, but it was like a rebel without applause. Nobody was listening. We'd say we were playing death metal, but it's death metal, and then we would say thrash metal band or Slayer clones. And it was like, fuck it, like, how could people compare us to Slayer? We're so different,
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, even Slayer thought we were copying them, because even people in the industry didn't understand what we were trying to do, and it was aggravating, but yet we're on a mission, being stubborn, and I don't think it was not until years later that it really, was acknowledged, and that's good though, I think that, we put it out there enough to where it finally hit back home, and thank God, for all the bands that started playing death metal, and all the bands today, because it really takes the whole community of bands to further the objective, which is we didn't know at the time. At the time I thought foolishly that Possessed would be the only death metal band in the world. That's what would segregate us, separate us, and make us special. But of course, whenever Death took the reins, and and all the bands from the second, the third, the fourth, the whatever generations, they turned death metal into a genre, less of a subgenre, more of a genre, and with subgenres would contain. But I look at all death metal, from folk death metal to technical death metal, is all just death metal, and it gives us a wider opportunity and variables to play whatever the fuck we want, whenever we want to play it, and how we want to play it, which was the whole point of death metal in the first place. It was never supposed to be buttonholed or pigeonholed or a set of specific rules and regulations. It was always meant to break those kind of those institutional fucking limiting boundaries.
Right. And I wanted to ask you something, because I was curious what your thoughts were on this as well, especially being obviously the forefather of the genre. Do you feel that the Teutonic thrash stuff from Germany would be more influential on death metal, even if it wasn't necessarily with you guys. I'm curious if it was, though, but would you say that the Teutonic thrash was more influential, you think, on the death metal scene as opposed to the American thrash stuff, minus Slayer?
No, not at all. I would say that we had no idea, fucking clue what, other than bands like Hellhammer and Venom, we weren't really paying attention to what the Europeans were doing. Death metal is very much an American thing. It is definitely started in California, and then it moved to Florida, and it later became a European thing. But death metal, in and of itself, was started with Possessed, of course, moved through Death, and then it developed. It very much an American thing, and honestly, at that time, we weren't even listening to LA. This was pre-Slayer, when we wrote Seven Churches, pre-ever hearing Slayer. And so, at that time, the Bay Area and LA were two fucking worlds that never collided, because as far as Bay Area were concerned, the Gary Holtz and the Jeff Becerras and even Metallica, everything LA was a poser land. It was all commercial fucking merch. Like, we would never, ever, ever associate ourselves with fucking LA, the land of the fucking poser cunts and hairbands. And so we were really strictly divided, just like we fucking hated Nazi punks and we hated fucking LA, right?
Right.
Now, later, after Possessed, been playing, fucking God, million shows or whatever, at least, so God, countless shows later, then LA became opened up with a few words, because Gary Holt approached me one night and said, Jeff, there's this band playing next Saturday called Slayer. They're from LA. I know, but it's fucking LA. But these guys are different. They're fucking heavy. They're fucking satanic, and they're like the real deal. You gotta check them out, right? I was like, fuck, what? I'll check it out. And that's when we were turned on to Slayer, and Slayer was literally like a key that unlocked the fucking abyss, which became LA. It opened up where we started thinking wow, maybe LA's not so bad. And sure enough, today LA is one of the strongest fucking underground metal scenes in the world, in the universe. Even stronger than the Bay Area in a lot of ways, because with the Bay Area influence on them, and then vice versa. So I think that now California was kind of solidified between NorCal and SoCal. So, but yes, death metal was certainly always it was started in California, very much an American thing. As much as the Europeans want to claim that and say just go back and listen to 80s thrash, right? This shit's all happy and skippy. Sounds nothing like Possessed or death metal. It sounds nothing like it. I mean, to layman, maybe, because there's a fast drum beat, but there's nothing happy about death metal. And all that thrash to me sounds fucking exactly the same. So.
Well, it's interesting, because when I did an interview with Millie from Creator, and they actually cite you as an influence.
Yeah, well, Creator is like an exception, but they were ahead of their time, and of course, there are some exceptions to the rule, and I think that Millie very young did catch on to Possessed, and a lot of bands like the Creator, and which are amazing bands. I would never take anything away from them, because I look up to them, and I always have. But they saw and recognized what Possessed were doing, and they keyed off that. They became heavier,
That's what, that's kind of what Millie said, and I thought that was awesome, that you guys, not only do you influence, the death metal that I grew up with, and to just even coin the term, but you're also influencing the Teutonic thrash scene. How awesome is that, Joe?
And as it should be, because, fucking thrash is great, but it's so happy, and it all sounds so much the same. I mean, to mix thrash with death metal, or death metal with thrash, it's just like, I think that, death metal is like a seasoning that is fucking really, even Judas Priest, you start seeing doing a more devilish thing. And hold on one second. even Judas Priest, I noticed was starting to throw out the Satan shit, right? That never happened before, and
Right.
I'm telling you, man, bands like us and Creator and the Underground, I know that they must hear us because you can see the devil just start succeeding, like through metal, like even more and more. And I know that sounds so big-headed, but it can't be coincidental.
No. Hey, it's not anything except reality. I mean, what you guys did. I mean, and I would even go as far as to say that the early black metal stuff was influenced by Seven Churches.
Yeah, well, I'm sure of that. Bands like Celtic Frost, and stuff where because I mean, I got the Hellhammer demo. It was a lot different than what they turned into, and we were playing with Celtic Frost very early on, and they were in correspondence with me very early on.
Sure.
And you know what's weird though is like I'm not gonna wait. We'll wait for later to talk about that because I don't want to associate it with any band in particular. But yeah, I mean we all were influenced off each other though. I'm not gonna lie. Like that knife that sword was double edged. You know what I mean? Like
sure.
And like if like definitely with death metal was influenced by black metal and the Satanism of Sabbath and Venom and even the spikiness of Kiss and fucking Priest and Bait and you got metal's metal. It's like a kind of a brotherhood. And of course, music is stands on the shoulders of the previous and looks towards the future. And it's all based from fucking rock and roll and blues. Robert Johnson to fucking Elvis to fucking
sure.
Sunhouse to I mean, look at Robert Johnson. He's wearing a fucking fat pentagram ring, singing about the devil and shit.
Right.
Yeah, you're like, that shit really fucking got my dick hard back in the day. Like, I loved that fucking satanic blues. I loved, like, listening to my dad's 45s of, fucking, Elvis or Jerry Lee Lewis or fucking, all that Sunhouse and, that fucking Master Blues and Devil, and then and then to move on to bands like Sabbath and fucking from UFO to Sabbath to Loving, like Rainbow and Bluish Cult and like shit that just had that seeded Satanism, that
sure.
devil in it, fucking like I love that devil part. That always stuck with me from a very early age. I was very dark and like I said, I was wrote Burning in Hell when I was 11. I mean, I was reading Edgar Allan Poe and watching fucking old black and white horror creature features and just loving everything dark and especially like Blood on Satan's Claw. I just really gravitated towards the Stephen King and everything dark. I don't know why, but the darker the better. And of course, Revelations in the Bible was really fucking spectacular because it was just so satanic and devilish and announcing like the devil and making the devil real and the dragons sweeping a third of the stars out of the sky and the horror of Babylon and opening the fucking 1,000-year pit. Just fucking good shit. The rivers of blood. Jesus comes back as a lion instead of a lamb, and he's not like a fucking red horse with a fucking sword lopping off it. The streets turn into rivers of blood. You're like, that's the sign of like Christ and the devil that is not often preached except to the hellfire and brimstone temples of the south maybe.
I mean, it's just incredible. And one other question for you, just before we move on to the new album. Did you, when you started seeing the stuff going on in Tampa, Death, obviously, Morbid Angel, Deicide, etc., were you like, wow, so here we go?
Well, of course you know that Chuck was one of the first people to correspond with me shortly after the E3 demo.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he actually wrote me letters, and we corresponded, and via calls, and he Chuck went so far is to, because back then they weren't playing, as much as people wanted Brand Mantis as a quote-unquote death metal, and they were far from that. I'm just going to leave that at that. Because with Chuck, he actually went so far as to move down into the Possessed fan club house, Crystal Mahoney's house in Antioch, California, to get closer to us, kind of, and mentor, and he was just like an interviewer. He was, when I go over to Crystal's, he would just ask me questions like, what is this? What is death metal about? What is, like, just trying to, like, he was really turned on by the demo, what was and what wasn't death metal, and he just asked the question after question after question. Of course, being a kid myself, that was really exciting to me to have somebody that was looking up to me and respected me, and the first person to really take an interest and acknowledge death metal as a craft or art form and a valid artistic thing, format. And so I spent many days on the couch watching Chuck jam and answering questions and partying and doing drugs, and Chuck actually asked permission to call death metal, a death metal band. And of course I said, it's a free fucking world. But until then, Death was the first band where I realized that there would be more than one death metal band, more than just Possessed.
I grew up in Miami, Florida, and I would hear about all this stuff, as a teenager, obviously already listening to Possessed and, Venom and stuff like that. But I remember Death was the first thing that I bought. I bought Scream Bloody Gore, and then everything else followed, like fucking, the first Deicide album. And, of course, you got Cannibal Corpse doing their thing up in Buffalo, and then they moved to Florida, and then Suffocation in New York, and, all the good stuff, but it's got to feel good for you. It's like a legacy, man. I mean, it's fucking amazing. It really is.
I mean, Chuck definitely revolutionized death metal. He put a lot of thought, and which was great. I was proud of him because because he mentored with me, and because we were tight, and because he always gave props to Possessed. I mean, if Chuck was alive today, that whole debate would be over, because he said in countless magazines that his primary source of his influence was Possessed with Jeff Becerra. And so I love Chuck for that. And what happened at a certain point was that Chuck had given us Possessed props so many times, right? And I thought this is so unfair, because back in the early and mid '80s, it was really in vogue for the media, the magazines to say Possessed or Slayer clones. Like, they were really just hateful, like just teaming, and eventually it turned into Death or Possessed clones. And
right.
That really hurt Chuck.
Sure.
And so Chuck started distancing himself from me, and fuck the media for all that. And that's what I'm saying, right? Because me and Chuck were, tight, and I know how much that shit hurts. Like, because, Seven Churches was right before we even knew what Slayer was, Like, how the fuck is a band we've never heard of going to influence an album that,
right.
takes it to the press, but we had that shit written, And so plus they're a thrash band, and I love Slayer, of course, and Possessed is death metal, and so and we were marketing ourselves as death metal, and Chuck was marketing himself as death metal, but eventually, after that shit digs deep, Chuck started saying, well, death metal, I don't feel comfortable with you calling the God Miller, because that's Jeff's thing, and that was fine with me, but what wasn't fine is that he went so far as to say, Death is, I don't even know why they call Death a death metal band, because we play Death as progressive metal. And I don't know for sure, but it seemed like the timing was, when people were calling them, clones, and that when he segregated himself, I don't know, maybe that's thinking too much of myself or whatever, but I'll always consider Death as a death metal band, and an epic death metal band. And, and there was never any beef between me and Chuck or Death or anything like that. It is what it is, and I think that between Possessed and Death, that death metal became something a lot more,
Yeah, I mean, and I'll be honest with you. I think, as a fan, just to briefly talk about Chuck, he lost me with like the last couple records. I was like, okay, I can't even, he was almost like a goddamn progressive jazz stuff or something. I don't know, towards the end of it. I couldn't get into it anymore. But really the pinnacle for me for that band was Spiritual Healing, like Backwards. Those records are fucking, those are.
Yeah.
And he's an amazing musician, don't get me wrong, but as far as like where they weren't as much death metal anymore, what I would say would be, for me personally, was after Spiritual Healing. Those first few albums are fucking, But, whereas like you guys, I could never hear, I couldn't imagine a progressive Possessed album, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just, it wouldn't have your seal of approval on it, it wouldn't feel like the same punch to the nuts.
Yeah, well, I remember Chuck was really excited when he had the precursor, the first tracks of Scream Bloody Gore, and I remember being super proud for him, and he came up and he was really happy. We were in Crystal's house up in the Possessed house, Chuck just was so happy. He's like, Jeff, listen, I sound just like you. And he was proud as hell of that. It sounded like, and I was proud for him and of him. And you have to understand, like, we were fucking brothers. Like he was happy for me, and I was happy for him. And it just felt good to have another fucking guy that believed in, the cause and forwarding, death metal as kind of the revolution. And, so, I mean, Chuck was a great guy. He was a nice guy. And at least to me, he was really, really cool and courageous and all that. It's a tragic loss. And of course, he was a musician first and foremost. And as an artist, we do shit that people don't understand. In fact, that's what we do. I mean, that's what death metal was all about. Well, most people didn't understand what the fuck we were doing.
Right.
Back in the day, and people would laugh at us and walk out. And a lot of people that are like that, people won't understand at some certain point, or they might do something that's too ahead of its time, or too crazy, or they might we might get full of ourselves and do something stupid or silly. And it's good to keep one foot on the ground and listen to the people around you, but at the same time, you also got to follow your own heart, do whatever the fuck you want.
Sure, exactly. And then, let's hop into the new album, man. I'm so excited to talk about this. We've got Revelations of Oblivion. It comes out May 10th. Nuclear Blast. And, God, man, where do we start? I fucking got to do track by track with you, man. Let's talk about the new album.
Did you get the advanced album? Or?
You know what? I have not.
You haven't? Oh, fuck, they've been giving it. You should have pressed.
I will have to ask Kristen for a copy of it. Because I'm real weird about digital stuff. I like to physically have it, so I still buy vinyl and CDs and stuff, so.
Most of my old shit I dug into like cancer, like drives, or like I don't even have like a lot of my old shit because like it just seemed like fuck, what's more important, like so. Like I like to like donate to shit and help out stuff. And,
sure.
But of course, I keep my own copies and just not tons of.
Right.
But, I used to have a monster like t-shirt collection and fucking CDs and tapes and recordings and shit that over the years I just fucking don't have room for it anymore,
I understand. I'm still an avid collector, man. I've got over fucking like 3,000 CDs and it's all death metal.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah,
I wish I was that organized,
I'm just a dork. I can't keep everything, but
we all have our little like mid out there, we have our rituals and our little collections and our big collections, and sometimes, I'm like that in other ways, Books, I collect books.
Okay. Well, let's start with the new album. So we'll start with track 1, the intro track, The Chant of Oblivion.
Yeah.
You tell us a little bit about that.
Hold on, let me pull up my files here so I can
Sure, no problem.
Right.
Awesome.
How order credits? Let me see. Yeah, Channel Oblivion, well, of course I noticed. Hold on one second. Okay, we're on recording too.
Oh, you're fine. Don't worry about that. I can edit anything out. You're good, man. We're not live or anything, so you're fine.
Okay, so let me see. Well, the Channel Oblivion was, of course, I wrote that, the music, and I had a composer, actually play the instrumental, So, that's really just a new take, on my own spin on Fallen Angel,
Right.
It would be a good, nod to the past, but also an introduction to the future,
Gotcha.
So, down, down, down. And so, and I'm trying to remember who wrote it. His name is, or who played it. His name is, it's on the album cover. But, basically, I contracted the guy to, play the music and put in a lot more demons. It wasn't like I was Beethoven or anything. There's more demons, more this or that. And so he was able to do that, and so I thought that was a really cool way to start it.
Oh, it's a great way to start the record off. And then track 2, No More Room in Hell.
It's okay, and No More Room in Hell was Dan's opus. He wrote all the music to that, and we were really proud of that one. Of course, I wrote the lyrics, and that was that was like the song that the record companies really liked. So we put that first on the demo. We kind of knew it was a hooky, more catchy, but really heavy still song.
Sure.
Nothing we do is commercial, but it had more you could tell that a lot more people would like that. Than,
Sure.
Say something Burning Hell or something. So that was the one that everybody seemed to really like right off the top. So it's fun. I've been played so many times now, people are sick of it. But well, hopefully not. Hopefully.
I'm not sick of it.
Really? How many times have you listened to it?
I've listened to it a lot, man. It's.
Be honest.
No, seriously, I love it. I really do, man. I was so fucking stoked to get my hands and listen to this new material. So I'm absolutely blown away by it, to be perfectly honest with you.
I listened to it hundreds of times, and I still like it. So
I think it's great. I mean, I don't, I don't get tired of stuff that I'm into. So it's an amazing track too, and I could see why that would be one that and it's got some chops in there. It's cool, man. It's something. It's fun. It's a good way to kick the record off too. And then
that's fun.
Yeah, track 3, Dominion.
Dominion was written by myself and Daniel Gonzalez. Of course, I wrote the lyrics. And what was I talking about again?
Oh, we're just talking about Dominion.
Oh, just about the song.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was we kind of wanted to do more of a rangy kind of lyric,
Sure.
And, put a little something different and have some nice breakdowns and melodies and several different parts and kind of show off the craftsmanship of how we write songs in that one. So
I think it's a great track. It's a killer track too. It's also one of the first tracks I heard. I really like it.
You know what I got from one guy in Europe? It's his question was on Dominion. I probably shouldn't say this because this is how rumors get started. He was or how people one time I said something went wrong on Beyond the Gates production, and forever that's known as the fucked up production album. I didn't mean it like that, but anyway, so it was the 80s. All production was fucked up.
Yeah, exactly.
And anyway, so he said, why are you singing so clear? Why are you trying to sing clear with no distortion in your voice? You think that's fucking clear? Shit, dude.
Yeah, I don't hear that at all, so I would have to say he doesn't know what he's talking about.
I guess I did really, like, with Seven Churches, like, our primary focus was being heavy and distorted and being the heaviest band on the planet, right?
Sure.
But with this one, like, instead of going that direction, just trying to out-heavy everybody else, I just thought, like, I'm just going to play what I want, and I want to pronounce the words so people can hear the lyrics and put a little bit more range and depth and, some nuances into the vocals and, and let the chips fall where they may,
I think it's fantastic, man. Like I said, I have no qualms about it at all. I think it's fucking brilliant. But track 4, Damned.
Yeah, that Damned was, again, well, I wrote all the lyrics, so we'll just leave it at that. And then that one we kind of recorded, like, I wrote 25%, Dan wrote 25%, Emilio, our drummer, wrote 25%, Robert Cardenas wrote 25%.
Nice.
So that was the group project where we all kind of put in. And I remember my drummer, who was a very talented individual, he's like, I want to help write. I said, well, you don't play guitar. And he's like, I don't play guitar. And I was like, bro, just fucking, like, you have a really good voice and you got a really good pitch. If you think of a riff, just fucking hum it. Like,
right.
Yeah, and then we can, make a guitar around that. And so, sure enough, then he started writing it. Of course, Bobby, he does play so, that was kind of our group. We had 2 songs that were like that, where people could get, to take part. Because to me, it's like I'm going to try to use every available, like 5 heads are better than 1, So.
Sure, definitely. And then track 5, Demon.
Demon, I'm pretty proud of that song. That me or Dan wrote that together, 50-50, and, the music. And so, this is, when me and Dan work on a song, what I'll do is I'll write like 7 to 12 tracks as a song, bass, like a foundational riff on guitar. I'll put it into my laptop. I'll send them over a package, and then Dan, being the master craftsman and engineer and producer, will sew those together with a drum machine, and then plays the rhythms and his solos. Then he'll ship it over to Robert, who will put, he has his own software. He'll email it there to Robert, who will punch in his bass riffs. He'll email it to Claudius, and who will punch in his solos on his own software. Then he'll physically fly from Miami to LA, mic up the drum kit, and record real drums, Emilio's drums, over the drum machine. And then he'll go home for a little while and mix it. And lastly, he'll fly up to my house in NorCal, and we'll set up a little studio with a windscreen and a vocal mic in my basement.
Nice.
And we'll record my vocals. So we'll have, and, of course, we'll have the hit the click track there, and that we'll take that whole, we make, this is like pre-album production work. We'll take all, the songs we had for the demo, and we'll take that into the real studio, and then use those as scratch tracks to record the album over.
Nice.
So that was the kind of start of that process.
It's brilliant. It's another killer track. And then track 6, Abandon.
Abandon is that's another Daniel Gonzalez song. He wrote all the music. I wrote the lyrics, and that was one of our first. I think that was our first, or no, second, new song. We had wrote Crimson Spike. That was a good song, but we ended up thinking it wasn't kicking hard enough. So then our next song was Abandoned, and of course, as a side note, I cannibalized Crimson Spike and used the lyrics for Graven later. So, but we'll get to that. So Abandoned was probably the first song that we were. This was pre-album, where we just wanted to put a cherry on top of our regular touring. We were touring the old shit for almost 11 years before that. It was almost 13 years of touring the old shit. And so originally we just wanted to write new songs to play to, our regular tour fans. We didn't know where they had signed. Phantom was one of those songs.
Oh, that's amazing. Some of the live cuts you guys were doing, I love it. And then track 7, Shadow Cult.
Okay, Shadow Cult is, let me see, that was the other quarter song where, I wrote the lyrics and 25% of the music, Dan did the other quarter, Oblivion did the quarter, Robert did a quarter, so that was another one of those group projects where we could all write together. It worked. I mean, a lot of bands can't do that, but Possessed is one of those bands that we're fucking brothers. Like, we literally die for each other. We love each other. Get along. We're all like tour fucking monsters. We love touring.
Right.
And so it's like, oh my god, man, I'm so happy now. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. So Shadow Cult, was that another one that you guys were playing before the album came out?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the second.
Gotcha. And then we'll move to track 8. Track 8 is Omen.
Omen, yeah, that was where I told Dan, Omen was the song where I said, Dan, we need a song. I need you to get, because Dan, he's a perfectionist, and Dan is fucking amazing. He's like by far the best guitarist I've ever jammed with. And I said, Dan, I need you to step outside yourself and do something that you normally wouldn't do,
Right.
And show me something that I don't expect. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I said, I was all into it. I wrote a big long letter, Jimi Hendrix, came up with Voodoo Child. And I was, everybody's got to put themselves in an uncomfortable spot. And Dan being like a really hardcore death metal kind of guy, he came back with something completely unexpected with Omen, which was kind of like a straightforward driving beat. It's not all fast, and that was weird because I really didn't expect that. And initially I was like, "Whoa, I don't know if this will work." And then, of course, once I put my lyrics to it, I start falling in love with it, and I really thought that was going to be like. That was like our epic song, the epic song. And what's trippy about that song is that I don't repeat lyrics. There's no chorus or hook or repeat verses. It's just different words from front to back. So that's like a trippy kind of thing I've never really done before.
Uh-huh.
I mean, did you notice there's like no chorus or anything?
Yeah.
It just keeps going.
It's amazing.
I don't know why I do that to myself, but I just say, I'm not happy just having easy lyrics to fucking remember. I've done no will the lives of the fucking holy house, and God knows how many lyrics I have to remember, but it's a lot, thousands and thousands of words.
Oh, sure. It's a killer song. We'll move to track 9, Ritual.
Ritual, yeah, that's my baby. I love Ritual because it's another song that I wrote. No, I'm just kidding. God, that sounds so bad. But of course, we're always proud of the ones that I take part. Of course, I co-wrote that with Dan. Ritual, that was another half and half song. I wrote the lyrics and the dance with the music, and which again, I write the chorus. I sent them to Dan, and that was when I was really just kind of like, when you're playing down. It's not like when you're writing an album, the fucking clouds part, the fucking ray of sunshine comes down and it sparks fucking some unholy fucking inspiration. A lot of it's just 99% work, and like at that, when I came to Ritual, I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just kind of fucking around with patterns on my guitar and patterns on the E string,
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, whoa, this was fucking heavy, right? And so that's when I came, and like I said, I started out trying to write something a little bit more crowd-friendly, to regular metal people.
Sure.
And it ended up being, I think, the heaviest song on the album.
Oh, it's heavy as shit.
Yeah, it's ruthless.
Yeah, it's a rager. I love it, man. Track 10, The Word.
The Word was one that really came easy. I mean, I wrote that like every riff in that song just came out, in like 3 hours. And so, but what I spent the most time on The Word is getting down the technique so that I can put it to sound good enough to email it to Dan. So, but the word is some ideas that I've been fucking around with since back in the Marauder days, back in, so that's like stuff I'd had on my mind since '79. So
that's awesome, man. It's a beautiful song. I fucking love it. Track 11. Yeah, I think it fucking kicks ass, man. This record.
I didn't know if that would be, hard enough, heavy enough, but
oh no, I love it.
Yeah, cool.
Track 11, Graven.
Graven was what do I say about Graven? That's another Dan song, and I wrote the lyrics, and Dan wrote the music, which I like that song. That's the one that I cannibalized Crimson Spike for, which was a song that musically Kelly McLaughlin, our old guitarist, wrote. So whenever he left Possessed, we no longer wanted to use it because he's no longer in the band.
Sure.
It'd be a bunch of the other guys, and so what I did is I liked the lyrics so much that I took those and took it to Grave, and that's that one. I just recently got back from Hollywood where I did the music video for that one. So.
Fucking awesome! I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, I got my buddy Peter Stormer to work with me.
Awesome, that's amazing. And then of course the final track, Temple of Samuel.
Temple of Samuel, that was Dan's classical track where he was like, I have an instrumental, and he had a track before where he's playing keyboards, so I was like, man, that sounds like fucking shit, dude. And so when he came at me with that one, I was like, oh, yeah, because I like Dan playing metal, but then when he played that, I was like, oh, that's fucking cool. And Possessed, we try to put like a little novelette, like all our albums are supposed to kind of fit together.
Sure.
Like a never-ending story. And this was the conclusion. We had the beginning, the middle, and the end. This was a tiny end that was really cool. Kind of resemblant of the end of, what is it, Seance, or, with the classical piece. Sure. It was just kind of a nice little outro way of stepping out and winding down the album,
Well, Jeff, it's a fucking masterpiece. Revelations of Oblivion is available May 10th through Nuclear Blast. It's going to be my May album of the month, listeners, so go pick that motherfucker up. Vinyl, CD, digital, it fucking rules. And Jeff, real quick, are you guys planning on hitting the States doing some touring?
Yeah, I'm looking at a fall tour, but nothing is scheduled yet. We definitely have the Quebec Death Fest in September.
Yeah, that festival's fucking loaded. You're all playing with some cool motherfuckers at that.
Yeah, but I have several offers, and at this point, it's just deciding between a stadium tour and a club tour. I always lean towards the club tours, though, especially in the States. Because,
fuck yeah.
And then also, I just kind of want to do a plug. I just did backup. I did the chorus. Well, I did feature guest vocals with on the new the new Cadaver single.
Really?
Awesome. And Dirk Vermouth from I don't know how to say his last name. Dirk V from Megadeth.
Yeah.
So that's called Circle of Morbidity. That's on YouTube now. So
awesome. Fuck yeah, check that out. That's fucking awesome, man. Anything you're involved with, I'm definitely interested in. I know our fans will be as well. Well, man, I hope to see you out on the road. I would love to actually interview you in person and grab you a beer and fucking maybe play some PlayStation.
Nice. I don't drink that often. Maybe once every 1 to 3 years. But we'll break at it.
Yeah, man. I just love to meet you in person, man. You're one of my heroes, man. You're one of the reasons I do this. So
you're fucking awesome, dude. And I know, I remember you now, and thanks for your perseverance and sticking with me. And dude, well, bro, once you're my friend, we're brothers for life. Until you literally have to completely fuck me over, I'm like a loyal friend. I'll fucking just always be here. You know how to get me.
Well, hell, we're on PlayStation together. Let's play some games sometime.
Yeah, send me a message, dude.
I will, man. I definitely will.
Hi, this is Jeff Becerra. Becerra of the band Possessed, and you're listening to Dr. Vincent West and Corey Gorechrist on the Phantasm Podcast. Dig it.